Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. You always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flaws, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
The day I met Bullhorn Betty and Jonathan Lee Ridges, they were protesting in front of the Laundrie's home. I began to document them, and little did I know, the three of us would spend the next few months traveling together. Nothing scares us, even if it means crossing a freezing cold river and getting wet. We put our lives in danger because we want to find answers. It gives us purpose, even if it means going undercover to get those answers, or visiting the scene of a crime and paying our respects. Searching for the truth isn't easy. It gets you out of your comfort zone and makes you see things in a different perspective. And it's this perspective that we want the world to see. At the end of the day, we fight for justice. We fight for those who don't have a voice. We fight for those who were silenced. Our next case, we search for Paula Miranda. She was last seen swimming in this river. Here's our Paula's family. Found 2 footprints they believe belonged to her. She left her phone and keys in her car. Her sister tells us that's extremely unusual for her to do that. Stay tuned as we venture deep into Wekiwa Springs State Park to help find her.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
Good morning, all. Sorry with the time. I woke up this morning and I saw Dolly Vision on, and he was having a really, really good conversation about a photo that he came in, he acquired. And so, naturally, of course, I start looking into it because it was a photo I'd never seen before. It was quite interesting. So Zap Girl apparently had some photos of the party. Now these party photos that we're now starting to receive appear to be more in line with their party. Okay, you can see how kind of insane it is. And for all those out there, good morning. Again, we got so many people in the chat this morning. It's going to be very hard for me to go through this morning to say good morning to everybody individually like I normally do. I do see some creators in here. Just a shout out to Justice for All. Nice to have you in here. Smiley's World. I know there are several other ones that are in here. Guidance in Life with TLC. I'm not quite sure who else is in here, but just want to tell you guys, thanks for coming over here. And to all the people that are out there supporting this channel as we dive through the Kiely Rodni case. For those that are just now coming into this case and really don't know, yes, Frankie baby, I heard that early on. We'll be going through that. But for those that are not familiar or just coming here for the first time or just trying to get some information on what's going on with Kiely Rodni, who is she, what happened. So I'm just going to go briefly through some preliminary stuff with you guys, just in case there is somebody in here that does not know anything about this case or has very limited information about this case. So on August 5th, Kiely Rodni was, from our understanding, was supposed to go to a car show in Reno, Nevada. Somewhere during the day of August 5th, Chronicles of Olivia. Chronicles of Olivia is Olivia's channel. Yes, that's correct. So anyways, on August 5th, she was supposed to go to Reno, Nevada for a car show. At some point in the day, her plans changed, and she decided to go to the end of the year send-off party for the seniors. This is a party that is set up yearly for the seniors that are going to college. Typically, their parties have been, 100 people, 150 people at best. So a nice large party anyways. I mean, 100 people is pretty significant. So they're accustomed to this party at the end of these summer months when the kids are getting ready to go off to college. However, this party was a little bit different than any other parties that they have ever had in prior years. This particular party got insane. It got totally out of control. Somehow in the process of them passing out flyers for this party, it must have gotten it because they had invited all the seniors in all the schools in and around their area to come to this party. So according to Sammy, everybody from all the schools in and around that area, all the seniors were invited. That came directly from Sammy's mouth that all seniors were invited. However, with this particular one, apparently there were some college kids that came, some adults that came. We're even hearing that parents actually showed up at that party to check it out. So, again, rumor mills, so we don't know really right now what is truth and fiction. So what are all the creators doing? We're going out there, we're sleuthing, we're working with other people to get some information. to start breaking this case down, because this is one of the hardest cases that I've been following since I started following these cases and looking into them. And the reason is because you have such a large party. How can you possibly contain, I think law enforcement stated in their last press conference that they had interviewed over 400 individuals in this camp area. 400? You're talking about a massive amount of people. How in the world can 400 people literally have very limited, well, first of all, keep their names out of the limelight? Like, we're not even really hearing of who was actually at that party, except, very small people that came out and was advocating for Kiely. For example, they had the whole, now, I would say that with the 400 people, but my point is how do we not have no people that were at the party or have photos? Like, we're having to pull teeth around here to get photos. We're having to pull teeth to get photos about Kiely. All the kids have shut down their social media accounts. It's almost like this was the contingency plan if something went wrong. I don't know how they can control 400 adolescents, especially with no it's insane. And then you got parents telling kids not to cooperate. It's horrible. It's horrible. So yesterday we were talking about the submerging of the vehicles and things of that, because I'm very curious about that. There's something in that. We know something is not right here. We're hearing a bunch of stuff. I believe it was Plunder maybe that brought up the latches in the back of the car. Like, people, we're now kind of dovetailing back over to that tow truck driver, where he was talking about the people that wanted to know how to buckle themselves and stuff like this, and put it through the belt. And then it comes back to an Instagram post that I had received, because the whole Boca Reservoir in my mind is is a puzzle piece that doesn't even go with this puzzle. And it's I think it's throwing all of us for a loop. And I keep wondering, is this a red herring? And so, in our coordination of, reaching out and people reaching out to us with as much information as they can, because they're seeing that we're taking this case seriously, and people are actually coming around the creators that are doing that and actually funneling some information to us. Oh, wow. So you actually agree with that. Okay, good. Nice to see you. Good morning. So, at the end of the day, it seems odd, but I had received an Instagram message, and from a person that I'm unfamiliar with, but I know they watch this channel. I'm not familiar with Instagram, so bear with me. I'm new to all this stuff, so I apologize to you. So this is what he said, and this right here kind of makes me feel like there's a possibility of something else, like this tow truck driver is a plant. And here's what the guy said to me. He says, I think that the roadside is giving everyone an off feeling because he's an FBI agent that is using the script provided by the behaviorists to fish out the real killer. He uses key words about the car in neutral, how to strap in. Seems to be working too. Also, based on the location of the vehicle and the drone footage, I'm starting to believe that the local cops found the car, realized it was a homicide, called the FBI. The FBI chose to bring in Adventures with Purpose to try to approach to find the real killer. This gave me goosebumps. I have to be honest with you. This statement here almost explains this weird puzzle piece that doesn't appear to be going with this puzzle. So, I'm looking into this a little bit and trying to figure out what is all going on here. So in that work, many people are feeding me information. We're going to just blanket. These are confidential sources. I don't plan on naming any of these sources that are bringing stuff to me. If you guys want, when you guys send me stuff, if you want stuff redacted prior to sending it to me, because I don't know what is confidential and what is not. So the onus is on the person that is submitting the stuff to anybody on our team, Chronicles of Olivia, myself, anybody else, if you want something redacted when you send it to us, please make sure it's redacted before it's sent to me, because I will, if it's something interesting, I'm going to throw it up on here. And if there's a name, a photo, a thumbnail, a little, circle with your picture on it, and you don't want it there, make sure it's removed before it's sent to me. Okay. So, but here's one of the pictures, and I thought this was really interesting. So I just found this morning, and found it very interesting. So the theory, so this is one of the theory, joy riding / emotional vent / panic drive via radical Baja style maneuver in a low light, limited experience, low light, low traction conditions. Driver is presumed very inexperienced, especially in off-road conditions, and also limited experience, months in operation of a particular vehicle, in addition to possibly being intoxicated. So they're actually showing some, I don't know if you guys can see this on here. Maybe I wonder if I could blow this up. Can you guys see the green? So somebody has actually put together what they feel was the path that this car was introduced into the water. This is pretty interesting to me, because you can clearly see the tracks that this is on the outside. Here's some tracks right here. And you can literally see them in the dirt. Look, you can see these. Let me pull this. Let me see if I can blow this up a little bit more. See, you can actually see them, the tracks right here. And they go straight down. So again, this brings me to the question of how law enforcement was unable to locate this vehicle. I mean, you've got dive teams, you got the FBI, you got the state police out there. You've got some of the best of California out there. And you're looking for a car and a girl that you believe is in the water, because you have been searching the area for days or weeks, and even come out and say, I don't know how we're going to sustain this in locating her. We've put all of our resources and we can't find her. But I am clearly looking at tire tracks going directly into that water. And quite frankly, going down into the water, they are literally the only tracks I see going into the water. I don't see, I see tracks all around this area. Here, we see them up here. We see them over here. I mean, we see all these tracks everywhere. But you see these very specific, defined tracks going directly into the water. Tracks have no back way. I don't know what that means. But it basically, let me go back and see let's finish reading this. So it says, so they believe whoever was in control of this vehicle had only been operating a motor vehicle for some months, very limited months, was not a experienced driver, and could very well have been intoxicated. So this sounds like the description of every single child out there. It says encouraged by steep grade at the pond label D. So this is and I noticed that last night. You guys need to, if you guys watch the Adventures with Purpose video, this is what I recommend everybody on here to do, is go back and rewatch it several times. Every time I watch that video, I get some more information out of it. And one of the problems I'm having with it is that I don't understand, whenever you're watching them come at an angle, you actually see the pitch of this ledge and how it angles down. This is not a flat ledge. This is actually raised. And you can literally, from the angle that I saw on Adventures with Purpose yesterday, easily have helped guide this car into the water to introduce it. Many people are talking about the seat belts, and we're going to be talking about that in just a second. So this is where they're saying the submerged vehicle is. You see the lines right here of the tracks going directly into the water. It says Tracks have no back way to turn away feature. The track ends, period. Water level would have been above it further inland. Now, and that's another thing we have to remember, is the day that they found Kiely's car and her remains inside that car, she was actually what was I saying? Sorry. This area here was actually a lot higher. I think about 5 or 6 feet higher in water than it was when Adventures with Purpose went out there. So those tracks could have actually been underwater as it was introduced into the lake. And they could have literally been introduced up here, because when Nick was on that boat as he was going into this area to search, remember, he talked to a gentleman on this very bank. And he says, you know, has this been dry? He goes, this is the driest it's been all season. So the day that they were out there was the driest it had been all season. So just another key piece of information. Again, this comes back to us not understanding how law enforcement missed her car, how all these law enforcement agents missed her car. And it does kind of jive with the statement that I got from an anonymous source on Instagram saying that this tow truck driver very well may be interjected into this to cause this commotion. Is it possible? You know, he's talking about, and then we see that Jagger post, which confuses us even more. He even says, well, she never even called, what is this, auto service or whatever it's called. He states that in a text. That almost alleges that he knows what happened. But was he just stating that because he knew that they checked her records and it wasn't her car? We don't know. We don't know. And it says, no, I don't think that dude is FBI. So you're not thinking that he's FBI, but it's the puzzle piece that doesn't fit. And I think it's strategic. Think about it. Why would Adventures with Purpose put them on? It's one of two things. They surely believe his story is legit, or he was introduced by law enforcement, or both. They believe his story is legit and he was introduced by law enforcement. Road assistance. Yeah, he said road assistance. She never called road assistance, almost implying as if he knew the situation in and around this whole thing related to the car and what this tow truck driver was saying. So still very unclear. Is that story true? Is that story, the tow truck driver, related? It very well could be. What if she wasn't dumped until Saturday afternoon? Frida B is saying, I said for the longest time that FBI would have found her and knew she was there, period. And again, I agree with you, Frida, because look, when they were driving over that car with the drone, did you guys see it? I literally could see that car perfectly in that water before they ever started raising it up. And that was with Adventures with Purpose drone. You could see the car. We asked Carson McMaster, the executive producer of Adventures with Purpose on this channel just several days ago. You know, what was that? I have to be honest with you. His expression said it all. Like it's perplexing to a crew like Adventures with Purpose, how law enforcement missed something like this only 55 yards from the embankment she was last seen on. Like the party was literally 300 yards away from where her car went in. This particular area had to have been the first place, because at the end of the day, most people when searching, and we talked about this in the Brian Laundrie case, and why I was so upset that they moved the search almost 45 minutes away from where his last known location was, because typical searches, you start at the last point of sight and you work outward. You don't typically go on the outers and work inward. You usually go from the in and work outward. It's done like that because, you know, people are typically like this. You know, she was right there. So I'm curious as what you guys think about that. And there's a couple other things I wanted to show you as well. I wanted to show you, this is something related to the car, the size of the car, it being upside down. It says, here is a 2013 CRV for consideration. Visuals help me. I have sworn accidents since day one. Thought she was found in the back seat. Being behind the back seat in an upside down vehicle is something else altogether. I don't know, guys. I mean, not impossible, but not likely either. Very good statement. Very good statement. And I have to tell you, I'm right there with her. Many of you guys know, if you have been following me from day one of this case, I have specifically told everybody that I truly believe that this is a situation where a young, bright girl made terrible decisions at a party and decided to get behind a vehicle, making the lethal decision to drive under the influence of alcohol. I said that here. And I also stated that while there are other possibilities that are possible, not just possible, but probable, this was where I was going to be until additional factual information came forward. That additional factual information that came forward was adventures with purpose. I mean, how the hell do you get a kid from the front seat to the back seat upside down? And even if it turned over, you would think that she would be more in line with being ejected out the window, the open windows, as opposed to being forced to the back of the car. And now we're hearing that there's a possibility that this girl was strapped into the back. What? But let's not think let's keep going down the accident theory. Let's keep going down the accident theory. So if she was actually tied in, this would be where she'd be tied in at. You guys still think if she's tied into this location that this is an accident? Right? I'm totally off the fence of accident at this point. I am totally off the fence. I absolutely believe that this is, without a doubt, foul play. To what extent, I don't know. I can tell you that, in all fairness, she seemed to be lengthwise. And I know we've been discussing how she could have possibly got there, because in the accident, when the car rolled, if she was sitting there, she would have been sitting or laying or tied down to the floor. So when the car rolled over, she should have rolled to the ceiling. But not only did she roll to the ceiling, she ended up having her face. So her face was in the window facing toward the bank on the driver's side, and she was up against that window and she was looking toward the bank. That means if she was in the opposite position, she would have been looking in the opposite direction before the turn. So my question is the way she landed on that ceiling, and she was lengthways, because they could see the shoes at one cargo window, and you could clearly see her face because she was on the glass on the other cargo window. So they were able to identify that she was back there immediately when they went around to that side. But she appeared to be lengthways instead of, the length of the car. She ended up being width of the car instead of length of the car. And you would think if she was floating, she would be length with the car, because she'd have to float from the front to the back. That didn't happen. With the car upside down, she's not floating on the ceiling at all. She's floating on the floor of the car where everything's attached, making it all almost next to impossible to get it out there. It's all speculation. Absolutely, Wild Still Horses. It's speculation with some factual information, because we're having to watch to find out how this car sunk. We're looking at legit track marks introducing this vehicle into the water. Was this something where, she was drunk and they wanted to strap her in and go joyriding in her car, and whoever took the car made a terrible decision, and this was truly just an accident? But in all fairness, she had no control over whether she was in that car or not. So if they strapped her in and accidentally killed her, I mean, at the end of the day, that's still manslaughter, vehicular homicide. I mean, somebody strapped that girl in there and drove it, whether it was an accident on how they got into the water or it was intentional. That girl was sunk to the bottom of a freaking lake. 5'7", Mandy says. It's a great point. 5'7". How do you get a 5'7" body to float from the front of the car to the back of the car, manage to get their body through the headrest like this? So she literally had to have a perfect line back there. because there's no way she's getting over the headrest and the roof. There's no way. I mean, you got a head, you got, it's just, for women, we have things that are on the front of our bodies that kind of prevent, that have problems here. So if she floated back there, you would think, and I heard this on Dolly's channel, by the way, somebody called in, and I pay attention. Like, people think I'm in these chat rooms and stuff like that to be, I'm not there. I talk in this chat because I see some of my friends in there, but I'm really in there. When I'm in there, I'm on my computer, literally taking notes, guys. I mean, I'm just letting you know that, when I go to these creators pages and they're talking about, I'm here. You see me in there. I say hi and talk to you. I'm taking notes of what's being said because I want to research that. And I suggest all the other creators out there do the same thing. If you're in a group chat or you're in somebody's channel and you're watching them and they're having this discussion, I'm not reading my own. I had to set my live chats back on, because when I go back to review this is the only way I can review your comments in here. Whatever you guys are writing with information or factual basis, I'm not reading that until after I'm done with the live, because I'm running the live. But we get that. But it's still hard. But on Dolly Vision's channel, the girl said, if she went back there and that thing floated and she was able to get back there, and she was right. You would think part of the body would be on that back seat, like part of it hanging into the cargo area and part of it being in the back seat, as opposed to her going through that little area. Think about it. She's got to go vertically down the body of the car in the center of the car. She's got to clear those two headrests of the back seat, and then she's got to find a way to now twist widthwise to the vehicle and pivot to the window and slide into the window. That's not that to me is not natural body movement in water. It's just not. I keep going through this and I keep trying to find videos about how cars submerge and stuff, and I want you guys to watch something as well. I'll pull it up. This car so they can make sure they get this videotaped. However, I think this is a great visual for many people. We also have to remember that all the windows were open in this car too. But this is a great example of the sinking of the car. This car here actually floated a lot longer than I expected. And it makes me wonder because we have conflicting information on the window. Was the window rolled down or was it busted out? Because if this was floating like this, maybe somebody realized it needed to sink and it wasn't sinking fast enough and went in and busted the window out to make it sink faster. We have to take all these things into consideration. Music. So what are you guys thinking about this? I have to be honest with this presentation here. It's taking a lot longer for this vehicle to sink than I had originally thought. So let me go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and put the StreamYard link into the stream. Here we go. See how it's tipping? Remember we were talking about the buoyancy and how the car takes a steep nosedive? Guys, I don't know. The way that this, I guess we're going to have to watch to the end, but the way this is looking and how far up it is and going down an angle, it almost looks like it can do a front over, an end, you know, like the back end over the front end. Let's watch. I'm watching this for the first time with you guys, by the way. Look at that. Look how it's moving. Is that from them pulling it, or is that's where I get my confusion from. I know they had to pull it out to let us watch this. It is straight up and down, folks. Straight up and down. Dude, if this makes a flip, because this is an SUV, if this makes a flip instead of the roll, dude, it looked like it did let's see. I wish they had cameras on this. I don't know about you guys, but that looked like it went end over end. End over end. Let me see if I can, hold on a second. I've been slow in the chat for you guys, by the way, so you guys can take this. So the mods, I finally figured out how to do it. Let me go ahead and put this in here. I'm going to go ahead and post this at the top. Okay, let me take this off. I know you guys are watching this. Sorry, I'm trying to get this post to the top, so give me just a second. Lord have mercy. Stop. Can you guys hear that? I hope not. All right, let me get back over here and change it back to me while I do this rest of the search. Sorry, I'm trying to post this, my link. I'm trying to pin it to the top for you guys. And everything's moving so fast, I keep forgetting how many people we have in here. So for those that are new, we're just going over this Kiely Rodni case. I'm just trying to bring some visuals. You know, we're talking about the case, we're talking about stuff, but I really think it is important to how this vehicle, like we are all, I think the ones that really thought this was an accident, like myself, are now, you know, really have changed our position dramatically with the findings of Adventures with Purpose. So now that we have changed our, you know, position, we have to dive into this. What I have a problem with, there's some key things that me personally, Bullhorn Betty has a problem with, with this vehicle. And I'm just focusing on this vehicle right now because this is the vehicle she was found in. And I am very curious. I'm not really curious so much. I mean, I know the stuff at the party has something to do with how she was introduced to this body of water. I know that. But we have so many people focusing on the party that I want to focus on how that car got there and in that position. Because here's what. When we were on Dolly's channel, he brought out his Ferrari, his little toy, you know, I don't want to call it a toy. It's not a toy. It's a model Ferrari, okay? It's just something that he happened to have, but it really did provide clarity. It was because somebody had called into his show and was having a conversation with him. And so he was they were talking about the positioning of the car, and it was hard to visualize that in my brain, at least for me. And I'm sure everybody else was having that problem. So he reached down and got his not Ferrari, his Lamborghini, sorry, and put it up and started showing us, how this thing flipped and everything, because what we had a problem with is that the back of the truck was facing the bank, the back of the truck. And when we were talking about it and talking about this, and this really kind of put it in perspective, that car looked like it did a end over end as it was sinking. Put a 1 in the chat if you think that this car that we just watched did an end over end flip as opposed to going down and doing a roll. If you think it's an end over end flip underwater, put a 1 in the chat. If you think it was an end over end flip, put a 2. End over end, excuse me. I just confused you. Okay, I think you guys got it. So you end over end or roll. Roll was number 2, end over end was number 1. Because this is important. Here's why. Because when we were talking about this and we were visualizing this and he had his Lambo and he was doing it, the only way that it would get into that position underwater would have been if there was 2 ways that it could have gotten there. It was either backed in, went end over end and flipped forward. And that's what would have put it in that position. Or as it sunk, as the engine was going down, it almost did a roll. And it went in the right way, but as it was sinking, it kind of rolled. Now, there are several factors to that I was told. Now, I'm not an expert on, buoyancy or cars introduced in the water. Guys, I'm learning this right along with you. Like, I had no idea that we would have to learn this kind of stuff, but it's great information. I think this case has taught millions around the world how to escape a sinking car. So if nothing more, this girl has saved many lives around the country already without even the victims knowing that she has already saved them. So we always want to look at positives with every case as well. And this case has dominated social media. I guarantee everybody that has paid attention to this case now knows how to successfully get out of a car when it's sinking in water. And I guarantee somebody that saw this story will save their life. I have no doubt. I have no doubt whatsoever. Guys, look, I literally got goosebumps saying that. I got goosebumps literally down my legs. I truly believe that. So that's the positive. So with us watching that video of the car sinking, it almost looked like it did an end over. And does that mean it did in this particular case? No, because I did find out there are several factors. Okay. Several factors we may not even take into consideration, such as how much gas is in the gas tank, right? That actually does affect how the car maneuvers when it's sinking because of the weight and how that weight shifts because it's liquid. So you have, things like gas, whether your windows are up or down. If your windows are down, your car's sinking quicker. These windows were up in this particular car, which that's the problem I have is I can't find a specific video with an SUV with the windows down to see how it's manipulated. I wish they would have put cameras in that vehicle. I really do. But I know that underwater cameras are very expensive and you got to have, you have to have the depth in order to get that dive from the front of the car into the water. So I don't know, guys. I don't know whether this car was introduced frontwards or backwards, but we know that there's something that sneaks to high heaven here. Something smells awfully fishy with this entire case, and we're just trying to find clarity. And every time I try to look for something with some semblance of clarity that we can introduce and bring to you guys to kind of help guide us here, guess what? I'm falling short. Like, there's nothing. I mean, I have to say the hours, you guys know I've been working nonstop. I mean, I'm up at 3:00 in the morning. I get up from like between 1 and 3 every morning. I work for about 2 or 3 hours. I lay down for another hour or two. I get up, I come do live. When I'm off this live, I'm constantly working, trying to find sleuthing, trying to find videos, photos, anybody that was at the damn party. Like, we don't even have names. This is the first time I have ever been, have had so many witnesses that I can't even find, right? Every person is having this problem. There are so many witnesses to what happened out there, and we can't find one person. We don't even know who was out there. Outside of Sammy, I don't know who the hell, Sammy and Kiely, who else was out there? Has anybody heard one other name of a person that was out there besides Sammy? We heard of Cody Miller. Cody Miller's a new name being interjected. Who's Cody Miller? People are like, what are you talking about, Cody Miller? It was on her pad. It was on Sammy's pad. When she was putting that Kiely sticker on her car, she had a pad here, and right there said Cody Miller, question mark, question mark, question mark. Who's Cody Miller? It's the most insane thing I have ever seen in my life. I mean, you're talking about, let's put this in perspective. We're talking about major web sleuths looking into this case. Major web sleuths. These are the best of the best of the best. These are the people that know how to find everything. And when we have the best of the best sleuths on this case, and we're coming up light on photos and videos of this party, we got problems. How are these kids able to coordinate so well to shut everything down from the public? And quite frankly, that's pretty damn frightening to me. That's pretty damn frightening to me. Who was in the car with Sammy getting drinks? I said, oh, somebody was behind. I'm sorry. If you want to come back up, I'm sorry. I didn't see you behind the stage. Come on up and I'll bring you forward. Sorry about that. The drinks. Yeah. When I reviewed, because listen, this is kind of my, let's just have a conversation here for a second. So this is my kind of the what's going on in my brain, and maybe some of you guys can identify with that. Maybe I'm off base with the people here in the audience. I don't know yet. Somebody says Cody Miller is a false lead. Gotcha. I wonder if that was strategic for her getting that in a picture, the way she had her pad turned around like that as she was putting, I don't know. It's just Robbie. Can you show me your face? As soon as you show me your face, I'll bring you up. I just need to make sure you're who you are. And make sure you turn me down in your background before you come up. So we'll wait for It's Just Robbie to show his face, and then, or her face. I don't know, some of these names, they could be either or. So we'll wait for that, and then we'll have a discussion. So It's Just Robbie. If you would like to show your face, I'll bring you up. Otherwise, I can't. Getting on. So what are your guys' thoughts about, I'm getting back to my thoughts. Sorry, I got a little sidetracked. So my thoughts is I'm really kind of analyzing this entire case. And so I'm starting to focus on the things that I was unable to focus on before because I thought it was an accident. So I wasn't really entertaining all the rumor mills, the Sammy with wet clothes, now that we're realizing this girl was truly sunk there, that rumor with wet clothes, was it really rumor, or was it somebody leaking information to expose? It could be either or. I don't know. But what we do know is Sammy was out there. Now, if we were taking Sammy, if we were, many of you guys picked up on the Sammy character way early in this case. Way early in this case, something stunk to you guys to high heaven with Sammy. You didn't like her. You didn't like the fact she left Kiely. She reportedly left Kiely at the party. We heard many of you guys picked up and analyzed it very quickly. Her conversations with All-American Dream Chaser, that Tony Dodge guy. I actually spoke to him. Olivia and I spoke to him like a year ago on the Kylan Schulte and Crystal Turner case when we were out in Moab, Utah. He was helping us with some information. It didn't end up panning out, but I mean, he was a nice guy that actually reached out to us and was trying to help and guide us while we were out, searching for answers in Moab, Utah. So definitely like the guy. I don't have nothing with him. I don't watch him very often, but he did have the whole Sammy interview on this particular Thank you. Okay, let's go. You can go ahead and turn your camera off. Make sure you turn me in the background, and I'll bring you up. I'm bringing you up now. It's just Robbie.
Hey, good morning. No, I had to put a shirt on so that I could turn my camera on.
Put your camera on. You could have been. I just want to make sure that we don't get porn bombed.
No worries. It's okay. Now that I put a shirt on and I made sure that my hair is not too crazy, we're good. Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Are you a notary? I had to ask this. Oh, me too. I just got back from LSS. I know, side conversation. You can see. Oh, right there's my printer right there. Anyway. I went to Prosser. I just became a Nevada notary. And so my commission's out of Carson City. And so kind of going back.
Oh, you're saying notary, like
notary public, like
okay,
a signing agent. So maybe I kind of misread.
Yes, I am.
Oh, you are? Okay. So yeah, you kind of in the same ballpark. But anyways, yeah. So I've been kind of going up. I'm in California and I've kind of been traveling between here and there. And I'm interested in moving up there actually. Anyways, so getting my business started up there and everything. And I've just been following this case over the past couple of weeks, obviously. And, I missed the opportunity to get some drone video. The PI got it, which is great. And so this time I wanted to get something. So I'm compressing or exporting a video right now. It's going to take an hour, I guess. But we went on this drive. It was 3.5 hours. Me and my friends went up to Prosser Family Campground at night because I guess some of some of the things that have been suggested was like, well, people are going up there too early. We want to see what it was like when it's dark, and, because there's been speculation on, well, isn't the moon bright enough to provide enough light for people to see, like whether if they're on the road or not? The answer is no. The answer is completely no. There's one point where we're driving into the campground and we're like, okay, we're going the wrong way to where the party and stuff was at. So we had to like do a 17-point turn to turn back around. And I didn't even realize that the water was right there. The water was like right freaking there. And I was like, oh my God, you guys, she probably just drove right into the water. So like it could, like, I'm like, I don't know, because of like her being strapped into the back and stuff is really too circumstantial. My friends that are with me that are kind of outsiders, they don't really have a lot of true crime experience. They're not a lot of, they're just like, their opinion was like, oh, it's probably an accident. She probably like floated into the back of the car or something. And I'm like, are you serious? How could that, I've always had a problem with that acrobatics, So thanks for letting me come on.
Before you go, what do you think about this entire case? Like, what is your opinion? Like, let me ask you this. You were following,
sure.
When did you start following this case?
Yes.
Did you start following like at the beginning?
I'm sorry, I was reading chat. So I followed it, not at the beginning, but after a couple weeks of it been going on and hearing, I heard about it after the party and after it went on the news, like after it went national and after people. Okay. And when I drove up there the first time, when I drove through Tahoe, they had a poster posted at like one of the main intersections, finding, looking for missing Kiely. And so I was like, oh my gosh. So when I, got to my friend's place up there in Nevada, I was like, do you guys know about this case? This is kind of becoming a big deal. And then that's when I started like watching some more videos and learning more of the details. And then, I'm also sort of familiar with the Daybell case and like some other true crime stuff. So yeah, but this one's kind of local to where I live. And so it's like, wow.
What was your original opinion? Not your opinion now, but just
originally?
Yeah. Originally.
I thought it was foul play because, there's too many kids, I know a lot about the NorCal culture and, these kids are crazy and, there's a reason there's not a lot of pictures on social media from this party.
Yeah. And I'm surprised. That is the one thing I can honestly say. Yep. People have their opinions about Ryan Upchurch and everything, but he really broke this out and said, what is going on with this? Why are we not finding anything here?
Exactly. But when I got out there, and I will, I'm going to post my video, and then I have some other stuff that I'm going to send my friend Donna Serafina. I love her. She's just a friend of mine. And she was the one who's like, I would really like to see what the condition was at that time when she supposedly went into the water. And so I'm like, you know what? That sounds like a fun adventure. It took us 3.5 hours. And it was nice to have my friends there who just aren't really into true crime like I am, because it was nice to have that external opinion. It's not like they're web sleuths or anything. They're like,
Right.
you know, just kind of from just a regular person who lives in the area. This is what I think. So it was nice. But yeah, no, that's the only reason I kind of changed my mind, is just because, you know, we could have backed into the lake ourselves. I mean, we wouldn't have. And obviously, you know, we were being very careful and stuff. And my friends were a little bit scared, but I'm like, you guys don't understand. You know, there's so many people out here. It's a holiday weekend. You know, this is probably one of like the hottest areas in the nation right now, as far as law enforcement being aware of it as an area. You know, we're gonna be fine. But it was completely. Oh, I want to tell you this. It was completely black. You could not see. The trees are so tall. It's a forest. It's a freaking forest. You know, you can't see it.
You can't see the water out there.
You can't even see the water. In fact, so there was like a little clearing in the trees, and I could see a part of the water, but it was just like kind of the only thing that kind of differentiates the water from the other blackness is it's kind of shiny, I guess is the best way to put it, is you can kind of see that it's kind of shiny, you know, or something. You're like, oh, okay, that is the water, you know. And that's when I realized that when we were doing that 17-point turn, because I got out to make sure that, you know, we're, you know, good to go.
Making sure you're not sinking the car.
I have a decent car, and I didn't want to take. So the other thing is too, I don't want to take the car off roading and like, you know. So
Right.
I just wanted to make sure that it didn't, you know, off that little road. That road is very small, kind of, not really meant for a lot of traffic like that. So, yeah, It just was one of those things where I was wondering, and this is kind of the first thing I thought too is. Everybody, if you look at the roads of the campground and then driving in and out of there, I kind of thought this too. It's like everybody was leaving to go out of there, like it was like a procession of cars, and then like she was the last one, perhaps, maybe, like just maybe, and then that's why nobody saw when she turned the opposite way, because the way that it's set up is you go this way or you go that way. I felt like that's what I didn't understand when Adventures with Purpose said it's a one-way out kind of thing. It is a one-way access in and out of that campground, that area, from where at least I entered it from the freeway and the main way we got in from Google Maps and everything. But I just didn't understand, because from the way it looked like to me, and then from watching, you know, your video this morning and watching, you know, where they pulled the car out and observing at least what we could at pitch black at night of the area where she was found, you know, what it looks like to me is, I don't know. It's sorry, I lost my train of thought. It's just,
it happens when you're on here and you start talking, because I haven't even told my theory yet. I've already brought it up twice and I forgot.
I want to know what yours is, but yeah, it's just so crazy, and it was interesting, and yeah, I hope that it doesn't happen again. It's weird that these kids keep coming up missing, like, you know, and also like it's kind of crazy to me that these major sheriff's departments don't, like, why didn't they check where the phone pinged? Like that's what
they did. That's what they're saying. That's why it's this is even being crazier, because they did check that. They had divers in that area. They were over that car. How did they not see it?
Exactly. So that's like, the only thing that makes me like, it's kind of fishy, you know, why
it doesn't make sense. I'm gonna go ahead and bring Stitchin up. Stitchin, if you
wanna, please. And I'll reach out, and like if I can think of what I was just gonna say.
Well, I was gonna bring her in because it looks like she's got maybe something to add to the conversation. Hey, Stitchin.
Oh, hi, everybody.
Move it.
Do what?
Do you want to take your camera off? I didn't tell you I was bringing you up beforehand.
There we go.
Sorry about that. Okay.
Yeah. So I live in Oklahoma. I'm a CNA. She has not been in that water that long. I'll tell you that much. She would be green from the water.
My understanding is I talked to some of because many people don't know I have medical professionals in my family as well. And I was talking to them, and I was told that, believe it or not, cold water, which that water is pretty cool out there, cooler water actually helps preserve the body. It's actually better for the body to be underwater than above water in a situation like this. That's what I was told.
And the only reason why I said it is I actually talked to one of my LPN friends, and I was like, explaining everything to her about the case, because she always hears about my cases that I'm following or whatever. I was like, answer this for me, because I know the answer, but I want to hear it from yours. And she, because she's been all over the world and everything, she goes, by 2 weeks she had been green, or at least turning a little green.
Yeah, I would expect her. Like, I looked at some pretty. I would never show them on here, by the way.
Yeah,
the stuff that creators look at to talk to you guys about is pretty significant. I just want to let you know that. Like, I'm surprised I'm not in a mental ward or having to go to counseling on a daily basis with the stuff, graphic shit I see. Excuse my language. So I was actually looking at some people that have been underwater and what to expect from them. And what I did find is that, even though they are preserved, you do expect to have some where the skin is, you know how you get pruny when you're in the pool too long? Well, it's not, it's like an advanced prune where it's just peeling, your skin's literally peeling up. Now, what I did find out is even though the body is better preserved underwater, as soon as it's introduced to oxygen, you have to work on that, with like literally within 20 hours because the body just starts disintegrating on you.
Yep. And
So,
I think it went end over end.
I'm starting to feel that way with this, but the only thing that's keeping me from that analysis is the fact that they had rope on the car to help guide it so they could videotape it. That is the only thing that's bothering me with it. If they didn't have those, if they put it off in a different area that they could film better and they didn't have the ropes on it, I would be a little more comfortable and confident in the end over end. But because they didn't have the cameras inside the car when it went down for us to see what was really happening under the water, and because there was ropes attached to it that I could clearly see, they did guide it away from, to make sure it didn't hit the walkway, that boardwalk. So I'm still iffy. It did provide me a lot of clarity, but still not enough clarity for this specific case.
Well, see, I also have in my family 2 repo drivers, and before they were repo drivers, they were tow truck agents.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, I try to run past my husband. He always blows me off. He don't want to hear about the cases. He hears about them enough.
Right.
So, I get a hold of the cousins in Texas. I was like, question. And he goes, it depends. He goes, it depends on how it went in. Mm-hmm. It all depends on how that car went into that water.
Yeah.
Is what he told me.
Yeah, it does. It does. And that's why, when like I said, when Dolly brought the Lambo out and started using it, if you haven't seen that, I wish I would, if somebody knows what link that is on Dolly, which one he did that on, if you guys could post the link to that video in here, I think it's important for everybody to see it because somebody was walking him through it as he was using the Lambo as the visual aid in this situation. And when it was pushed in frontwards or introduced in the water with the engine going in first, if it would have did an end over end turn, it would have been the engine pointing to the bank as opposed to the ass end of the car pointing to the bank. But in this scenario, we could clearly see it was the ass end pointing to that bank, which gives us the idea that there was a possibility. Now, just a possibility. We don't have anything confirmed, but it is possible that car could have went in there backwards. Oh, you're muted, Robbie.
Yeah, no, that's true, and that's what I realized too. I was like, wow, they could have went in backwards. What if it went in backwards too? Yeah. But then it's just so, like you said, it's so weird how she was eerily just like in the back. Like it's almost like she was like, I'm right here. I want to get like, hey, like hello, and it's like everybody was looking for her. It's like it's just so weird.
I still wonder if it's the college prank thing. Maybe they knew she was drunk. They wanted to go joyriding. They strapped her in the back so she didn't bounce all over the place.
Maybe, yeah.
I mean, these kids are crazy shit when they're drunk. Let's be honest.
Exactly. So, a lot of the chat has been asking me. A couple of people asked about Northern California teen culture and stuff. So, I'm a millennial. These kids are, I believe, Gen Z. They're Zoomers. So, not quite iPad baby generation, but they're a little bit more towards that way. Mm-hmm. So, some of the first things is that, they're all definitely connected to social media, online. They're super into their music, into whatever's going on in pop culture. They're trying to make the 90s relevant again. I don't know why. Maybe because the way that they weren't there, they weren't alive for them. And they're like, oh, we want the cool college. I don't know. I have no idea. But anyways.
We had bell bottoms. Bell bottoms was like in my mom's.
I don't know. I guess it's just
around again.
Whatever. You know how we are. We're humans, so we're interesting. Nobody's really original. We just reuse our stuff over and over again, I guess.
Well, we think we are.
Well, we have 17 Spider-Man movies, and they're, all different actors. So anyways, I digress. So, but yeah, no, so the culture here is very crazy. So I moved from Utah. I grew up 1 to 18 in Utah, graduated high school, and I moved to Northern California. And basically I learned that your rite of passage in Northern California was to get a DUI. So like everybody that I met that was like my friend group, like they had all had their DUI except for like me. You know, I didn't get a DUI, but I was like, that's kind of weird, you know? And then, you know, the other
But you weren't
thing,
the cool kid in the group.
well, no,
you were the smart one. No.
I just didn't drink a whole lot. I was 18, you know, I was a minor, you know, and I'm from Utah. But these kids were already like heavily drinking and smoking weed, and it was very much part of the culture. So I think that that's kind of carried on over the years and actually even hyped up even more. And you know, the thing about it is now is that they're into that Xanax and the fake Xanax, which they can't even get real Xanax. Like, I don't understand. Like, if you can't get real Xanax, don't eat it. You're gonna die. Okay, don't eat it. You're so dumb. Like, don't put anything off the street in your.
Yeah, like you don't know what you're taking, and this is, and it's getting worse. Like when we were younger, we didn't have a whole lot of crap. You know, we didn't have this whole synthetic line of
Weed
nonsense
and everything.
Yes. You know, what we got was pretty, it was either pure or cut with some garbage, but it wasn't cut with something that's going to kill us.
Exactly. It's insane. So that's the only thing. So when I have any, you know, younger friends or whatever, I'm like always, you know, trying to be a good example. Like, hey, you know, make sure that you over communicate when you go out and you do these different events and these different, you know, music things and whatever, and these different parties you guys go to. Make sure that everybody knows where you're at. That's why I was really kind of surprised too that this even happened, because we're kind of in that day and age where it just blows my mind that, you know, these young kids just keep coming up missing. Like this girl, she's not the only one. The Dylan Rounds thing, it like just over the summer, there's like, it seems like the Aiden situation out there. You know, there's all these different kids that just keep coming up missing. It like Gabby Petito, you know. Anyways,
somebody has definitely. It's almost like all of a sudden people are getting better at hiding people
which doesn't make sense.
It's scary.
It is scary.
And it makes us wonder, you know, we have to think there's only certain places people can disappear, you know, really disappear. Underground, underwater, or in a fire.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, it's pretty simple. We just got to find them. But I mean, they did die above ground, of course. But, you know,
of course. Of course.
Means there's only so many ways you can get rid of someone.
Well, okay, back to the cell phone ping. Right, we have to, like, you know, the Occam's razor theory. Sometimes the most simple explanation is the truth. That's what happened. You know, so following the Daybell case, you know, we all wondered where those kids were, and that's where that. So they go to Chad Daybell's backyard. The FBI pulls out the heavy equipment, and that's when Chad Daybell gets in his truck and says, "Hey, I'm out of here, guys." They see, you know, they're beep beep beep. They've got the backhoe. They're pulling up right to where he buried the bodies. You know, because they use the data. These cell phones have multiple. I used to work at AT&T for a number of years as a manager. I ran a Palo Alto store.
I love people that know what they're talking about.
Like the data early on, like the thing with Dylan's phone, it's pretty hard to locate because there's not a lot of towers. There's not a lot of things to like, there's not a lot of frequency to like map the phone. And we don't know. And it also depends on what network services the person has enrolled on their phone. Like if you're signed into a bunch of Google stuff, Google's keeping track of where you're going. Same with Apple. So that's why it's a little bit mind blowing to me that all of these people keep coming up missing. Like, and the FBI, not to go directly to where, I guess, okay, like we talked about this, they did search exactly where her phone pinged, but they missed it. Again, when the FBI went to find Kiely and JJ, you know, it was like, well, we're obviously not going to find them above ground. You know what I mean? You know, so it's like, if you went to their area and the phone ping there, the circle was only yay big, right? 55 feet offshore. It sounds about right to me. You know, it should have been pretty. And you know that Placer, these people are voted into office. The Placer County Sheriff's Office, the Nevada County Sheriff, these people are voted into by their constituents. And I just really hope that they have a lot of answers, you know, because it's really
they need to. What do you think about the silence from law enforcement? I mean, we just had mind-blowing information given to us by Adventures with Purpose.
Yep.
And law enforcement's lips are sealed. They haven't come out to discuss it. When they had the press conference on August 22nd, that was 2 days after they recovered her. They knew what kind of condition she was in, and they lied to the people by saying that this was just an accident collision investigation. And we know damn well at this point in time, that's a lie.
Oh, they're trying to protect their jobs. See, internally, you're not going to say anything because when you're in an investigation at work, you're not allowed to talk about it. See, you want to keep your job, you're not allowed to talk about it. Yeah. So I bet the state of California, somewhere within their hierarchy, and this being so national, you know, nationally covered, you know, and especially, I mean, the sheriff, even for him to come out and say to the Adventures with Purpose team, like before they even found her, like, if you find her, it's going to be an embarrassment to us. Well, yeah, You know, and it's almost weird. It's kind of weird that he said that. It's like it's almost like he knew they were gonna find her. It's like, well, we kind of messed this up, didn't we? He kind of knew like the writing was on the wall or something.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to add before I take off, and definitely we'll be in contact. I'd love that you're also a notary as well. We can definitely connect otherwise on that. But yeah, definitely a pleasure to meet you. But yeah, thank you so much for your time. And
Yeah, you're nice. I didn't know you were a creator, so I'm Andrew. I'm Bullhorn
I
Betty.
dabble.
Yeah.
You know, I like, it's a hobby. You know, it's hard to be like really successful
Trust me,
at it.
those hobbies become work very soon.
Yeah, exactly.
Trust me, once you get hooked, it's like you're done.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much. You guys have a good day.
Come back again. I love the conversation. You seemed pretty knowledgeable. It was great.
Thank you. Next time I'll wear a shirt.
That's okay.
Before I come in.
There you go. All right, love. Take care. Have a great day.
See ya. Bye.
So, well, just nice guy. Sorry, Stitchin. I was, you know, kind of when you're on the panel and there's more people, you kind of got to just pipe up and speak because we jabberjaws up in here. So I think we got a lot of great information. I've got a lot of stuff over here to cover with each and every one of you. But here's the deal. There's a lot of creators out there covering some stuff. There's a lot of research that needs to be had. So I have decided that I think I'm going to do my morning coffee club with each and every one of you guys in the mornings. And I think I'm going to do some research and come back to you guys in the afternoons to give you an update because this stuff's just, it seems like things are starting to be released. Terry, I see you behind the screen. If you want to turn your camera off, you can. Otherwise, I'm just going to go ahead and bring you on up. Okay. Hey, Terry.
Hi there. Hey, you were just talking about the temperature of the water. And when AWP was on duty, Ron, they said the temperature was around 80 degrees. It was very, very warm. It wasn't cold.
I was told that according to the maps out there, that the water when she disappeared was in the 60s and 70s.
Okay. Yeah, I was just, like I said, on duty, Ron.
You know, it is summer. It does heat up during the day. You know, I don't know how that affects, but I was told that cooler water actually preserves body, and the water itself preserves it better than being on land in the dry elements.
Right. Yeah, and I wasn't sure if the warmer, you know.
I didn't check into that, so you could very well be right. I mean, there are some questions here that I think we all have related to this and how long she's been there.
Yes.
Getting back to my theory, well, I'll just do it while you're on here. I keep saying I'm going to tell people, and then I get sidetracked and I never say it. So this is kind of how I'm kind of seeing things unfold. And I did allege a few of my possibilities, but what I truly believe that happened out there, I think it was a mixture of several things. But I do think that she was sunk that night, and I'll explain why. I do believe that something tragic happened. Now, I don't know if she was just drunk when she was in the back of that truck or if she was already dead, but I do know she was back there for a reason. It almost seems with the whole tying her in thing, it seems like if there was something more nefarious or she was murdered or something like that even the drunk teenagers or whoever would have been smart enough to put her in the driver's seat of the car to make it look like an accident.
Right.
At least go out of their way to make it look like she was driving and she was responsible for this. That's not what happened here. What I see here is a girl in the back of a truck, patterns on the beach that look like somebody was just driving way too fast and not knowing how to drive and probably intoxicated, because you can see the path. It's not a straight path into the water. It's kind of all over the place.
Right.
And then we hear Robbie come on here and talk about how incredibly black it was out there. So I'm starting to believe that this was a joyride gone wrong with some of her friends.
Yep.
And they sunk that thing sunk, and I think they realized that they could not get her out.
Yes.
They got themselves out, and they just acted like we're just going to leave it and act like it never happened.
Yep. I agree with you on that, especially with the windows being down, and it kind of goes back to whether the vehicle flipped or rolled.
Because
depending on
everything, not just the gas tank, but those windows, that affects the path down. You know, that one, all the windows were up and I could not see But one thing I have to be honest with you, is that particular vehicle that they were using floated on the water a lot more than I would have thought.
Yeah, I was surprised too. At that.
So they could have technically gotten out of that car.
And she couldn't.
But they could have, but think about it. The ass end was the last thing that sunk.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody could have swam out there and pulled her out of that back. They had the time.
But if they were drunk and scared and kids, us as adults might think that.
Yeah. Us as adults wouldn't even went out the window. We'd have been going back trying to get our friend to come out there. We'd have been sunk with her. That's what
I wouldn't have gone drunk driving, but right.
Yeah. But I mean, I've drunk drive before because I was a piece of shit, you know.
Right.
You know, so it's like, you know, I understand this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly why I, thought that this was it, because I was that irresponsible person. I was very smart in school. I just had a lot of problems, and I just, my outlet was a messed up outlet.
Right.
So,
right.
and it just, it affected me into my adulthood, and it just, at some point I couldn't take it anymore. It was time for change.
Yeah.
So,
so tell me, how does your thought on what happened, where does the tow truck driver come into that, or doesn't he?
Well, this is my theory on the tow truck driver. I believe the guy. I believe the guy saw what he saw. I'm sorry. He may be an FBI agent. And if that's the case, kudos to them, because he convinced me.
Right.
I truly believe he was being authentic. I truly believe he was being truthful. My problem is when I look at all those kids out there in California, the boys have brown hair sticking out under a San Francisco hat, and the majority of the girls are blonde hair and blue eyes.
Yes. Yep.
So,
absolutely.
And then we look at the photo of Kate. I actually have it up here. Let me find it. We have the photo of Kate and Kiely. Let's see if I can find it.
They all look alike.
Mm-hmm. She just turned. I mean, when you have a full frontal facial of them, they look different. But when you catch them at an angle, or catch them here, or just get them just right.
Right.
They look alike. And now, granted, he was in front of her, speaking to her and saying that there were some things. The reason why I don't think it was her or anybody, one of her friends out there, is because everything happened at Prosser. The party was at Prosser. The drinking was at Prosser. The fights were at Prosser. The last ping was at Prosser. The search was really, honed in on Prosser. And her car was found in Prosser, and her phone stopped working at 12:33, which is about that 3-minute mark from the time of 12:30 when that mass exit happened. Like when the car went in the water, everybody's like, "Oh shit, we need to get out of here." Something's breaking off. They all take off. 3 minutes later, her phone is completely dead.
Yes. Yeah.
And that is the time it takes to sink a car. The longest it could possibly take to sink a car is 3 minutes.
Right. There's just so many.
That's why I said that's the one piece that just does not match this puzzle, is that tow truck driver. And I think he was talking to people. I think they may have had the same exact vehicle. I think they were hungover from the party that they were attending over at Boca Reserve or Starkey, or that Stark, whatever the name of that other one was. There was a lot of parties going on at those campgrounds all over that night.
Yeah, there are just so many different with the tow truck driver, the whole seatbelt thing. Well, were they trying to strap her into a seatbelt?
But this could have been a situation where that couple were together and they were having a fight, and they were all, how drunk people and people, especially coming down, they start fighting with each other. Maybe he told her, "I'm going to drive you in this fucking water," and blah blah blah, and she's probably thinking, he's coming down, he could have been violent with her in the past, and she might be just saying, "Hey dude, how do I strap my seatbelt on real well?" You don't know what happened in that before he got there. This may be totally different people. He may have picked up on a serious situation, but it just may be with another person. I have to think that this was not the only problem that happened at all these parties going around Nevada and California that night.
No, I agree.
This is just the most notable.
Yes. Yes, unfortunately.
Well, Terry, any other final words?
No, that's all. That's all I had.
Thank you so much for coming up. It was nice to meet you, by the way.
Yes, you too. Have a good day.
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Herbie, I need you to please show me your face behind the screen, and I'll go ahead and pull you up. Perfect. You can go ahead and kill your camera. All right, Herbie, I'm bringing you up now. Hi, Herbie. How are you?
Doing fine. Hi, Betty. I have a question for you.
Sure.
Have you checked the timing, how long this car is floating before it's reached even the window? Even when the window is open,
Yeah.
the car floats a long time, more
Yeah,
than enough
I was
time to
surprised.
exit the vehicle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't time it, but it did when I was looking at the video itself. It looked like before the water got up there, it was still almost a minute and a half.
Yeah, correct.
But they introduced the car to the water with the windows closed, though. And that's the problem I didn't like, because this particular car, like Kiely's car, I believe was entered the water with the windows open. So when that first crash of water hit, it would have went inside that car, which would have helped sink that car quicker. In this example, for this car, they didn't have that.
Yeah, but you have to see it. When you
Herbie, you're breaking up just a tad. I think we just lost Herbie. Alma, I'm going to go ahead and pull you in if you would like to take your camera off, or you can keep your camera on, but I just want to give you the opportunity. I'm bringing you up now. Hi, Alma.
Hello, how are you?
Good. So what do you think about all of this?
Let me mute my TV. What I'm thinking is that I think that I'm getting to the feeling that you are correct when it comes to a joyride with the kids. Somebody was driving that car.
Mm-hmm.
I think she was in the back, probably passed out, and somebody took not advantage, but I think that they were all driving home. They needed a ride home.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody was driving, took the car for a ride, and then they took the wrong road, and they just went to the lake.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the reasons I'm thinking this, because when we were teenagers with my husband, I've been married that long, teenagers with my husband, we were high school sweethearts, by the way. And my husband got drunk. He was my boyfriend at that time. He was
Mm-hmm.
drunk. And then one of the kids, we were at a party, one of the kids, said, "Hey, I can drive." And he was a new driver as well. He just had his license. And I said, "Okay, you drive the car." My husband was drunk in the back seat. Okay, so he failed to do a stop sign, and we hit another car on the way home. And mind you, this was in the morning. This was not in the nighttime. This was in the morning. So he didn't know how to do the stop sign. So what happened? Okay, so my husband and I, we stopped, waiting for the cops and, all that good stuff. What happened to the kids that were in the car with us? They all fled. They all fled.
Right.
What happened to them? We don't know. They
Right.
were all scared and fled. So this is what happens when you're a teenager, and this is for personal experience. When you're a teenager, it happens.
Right.
And I think that this is what probably most likely happened. These kids were for a joyride in the car, and then, the girl was in the back, and they just fled.
Yeah, something happened. I just, and then we did hear early on that Sammy was reported to have been wet at some point. That was circulating, but I didn't pay any attention to it. I thought it was just rumors because people were so pissed off at her for leaving her friend. And, I just naturally thought that's what this whole scenario was. But seeing those tire tracks, now there's also another thing that was that might be relevant here. When that mass exit happened, is it possible that, say Sammy was driving her car and decided to go around the big leave, and when she went to go around all the cars that were leaving because she was being impatient, she went the wrong way and drove into the lake? I mean, there are some things that might be here, but there's still that element of, man, this feels nefarious. This feels like something really, really bad happened to her. And this was a major cover up by the kids. So I'm really on the fence. I'm still not, I still want to believe in humanity and believe in these children and think that this was truly just an accident and they got scared, as opposed to they truly did something to this girl and tried to cover it up.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's just a big cover up from the kids, and
Yeah.
it's sad about the cops, not doing what they need to be doing, and most likely some of the cops know the parents of these kids as well,
Mhm.
and
It's a small town.
it's a small town, so yeah,
Truckee only has less than 17,000 people in it.
yeah,
Everybody knows everybody at 17,000 people.
right, right, right,
I'm sorry. And I guarantee everybody already knows what happened, and nobody, and even probably law enforcement, but they're making them hard. They're making them have to prove it. I bet you they already know what happened.
yeah. They probably do. They probably do. Anyhow, just wanted to stop by and say hello, and I'm a new viewer of yours,
Thank you. I
I'll,
appreciate the
I'll
love and support.
so have
Yeah,
a great day.
you too. Thank you. So Michaela says, sorry, but I have to respectfully disagree. The gas tank must have been empty, as was no oil leak observed above the car prior to discovery. And that really kind of was the point that I made, because of the gas prices out there. Somebody had actually said that they can't imagine this young girl purchasing more than a quarter tank at a time. These are young kids. They don't fill up their tank like us adults do. And I'm the kind of person, if my car gets to like a quarter of a tank, I feel like the tank is empty. I have never been one of those people that have ever ran out of gas, and I don't intend to start now. So, anyways, and I think she's right about the oil up there. So it kind of does play into kind of my theory that there was not a whole lot of gas that would have been in that vehicle at the time, because these are young kids. They usually $10, $20 it, from here to there. They're not really the kind of people that go out there and take $70 to fill up their whole entire tank. These are young kids. They don't do that. They think of things like going to the movies or going and hanging out and getting that milkshake with their friends, so I don't know. So, but thank you for the support. And I have to read, it says also, as there's no leak above the car prior to discovery. Okay. Yeah, I can understand that. I absolutely can understand that. Let's see what else we got going on here. So, not older car leak oil, not newer, in my opinion. Yeah, but I don't know how that would be, because if any water got into, the car wasn't fully sealed and any water got into that oil, it would almost make it, motor oil is fairly thick. And even though it separates from water, it does make it more runny, could it? Yeah. But you know what? There was no oil on the top of the thing anyways. And that, it makes me wonder, the car would have had plenty of oil in it, at least, what's mine, 2.4 liters, so I don't know what about the oil slick at the top. I don't know why it didn't come up. Again, this is a 2013 vehicle. It's really a newer vehicle in the grand scheme of things. So do they do things a little different? I got to tell you, these newer vehicles for me, like I can people don't realize that Bullhorn Betty can work on vehicles. So I can go out there and tear a vehicle apart. I can remove a water pump. I can change out an alternator. I can, change out the serpentine belt. I can do just about anything as long as it doesn't have to do with the engine or the transmission. Those are the two things I will not screw with. Okay. It's my engine and my transmission. Starters, spark plugs, anything. I used to have a timing light. Many of you guys know what a timing light is if you're a mechanic, right? This is back when we had the distributor caps, right? You had to, when you did a tune-up, you had to adjust your timing chain with the timing light. You had to adjust your distributor cap, and you had to make sure your cords went in the order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it was, 6, whatever your thing. You had to make sure that you had your proper numbers. Each spark plug cord was a different length, because they did different things. Now those are all kind of interchangeable. You now have ignition coils that you just pop in and pop out, and those are interchangeable. You can put them on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. So lots of things have happened, over the years with vehicles that we didn't have to deal with. Older cars, to me, are simple to easier to fix, than these newer cars. You got computers and sensors and all this other shit, excuse my language, in these newer cars that you didn't have in the older cars. So what I know about older cars is very different from the newer cars. So, and the reason why I'm going through this dissertation is because we're talking about an oil slick on a 2013 car. And I'm not sure, with the gas, you would think the oil would have came out too, not just the gas in the gas tank. So it sounds like this car was fairly sealed well, properly. And maybe that's the reasoning for it. But I'd have to think that that would have been, but you know what, when we were out in Bryan Laundry looking for him, we were expecting to have the birds flying above his, where he was at. We were expecting a whole bunch of something that was identifiable, that we could easily find his location if he was dead. And none of that happened. So the stuff that we hear about all the time, it could happen, but it doesn't necessarily mean it will always happen. And that was the same way with Kathleen Moore too. Many of you guys know I was in the backside of that house. I couldn't get to her because of a swamp. And so we did a video post, to law enforcement, and even called law enforcement, told them that we really think that that's the area that needs to be searched. They told us it was thoroughly searched. That's what Pasco law enforcement told us. Well, a few of the neighbors ended up going back there and found her. We were out there on Saturday. She was found on a Tuesday. If I would have literally had my waiting gear on, I would have brought that case to a close. Well, Jonathan Lee Riches and myself would have brought that case to a close on that Saturday, as opposed to Tuesday, a few days later. So, we're looking for all these identifying marks to help guide us in finding and locating this. But just because, it's happened in the past doesn't necessarily mean it'll happen again, because Bryan Laundry was out there in those woods so much so that he had nothing left. There was nothing left. So, you would have expected the buzzards. You would have expected, you would just have expected to see some identifying marks where he could have been in that area, and there were none. So, take it for what you will. That's just my experience. Also, I kind of woke up this morning and was watching the video. I don't want to step on, because I have a funny feeling Dolly's going to be exploring these photos a little bit more. So I don't want to step on toes related to that. But I did want to share some of the photos that he shared with his audience here. Just a real quick, something popped in my mind after he shut his live off. So let me go ahead and pull these up, and we're going to talk about it. So here is the photos that he saw. I believe it looks like the ones that were there. I went ahead and got these ones. But this is like, those are all the same. So this is kind of like the bar area that he was talking about. It looks like they set up. It looks like they have whoever set this up is actually charging for booze. So yeah. Oh, we only have 85 likes right now, according to ZZT. We have 1,200 people in the room right now. Guys, if you could please kindly go out there and thumb this segment up. We work very hard behind the scenes to bring relevant information about the Kiely Rodni case. And for us to continue to provide you guys stellar work, we need to have our algorithms and everything hitting on all cylinders. So if you guys would be so kind, or you felt that this information was informative, please go out there and do me the courtesy of giving me a like. Go out and hit the like button, come back in. Let me know where you're from. We have 1,200 people in the room. Before we go too much further on this video, I got to show you guys a couple more things. I'm going to give you guys an opportunity just to exit out. Go out there, thumbs up. Whenever you have provided me a thumb, come back in here. We got 445. Somebody must have dropped one of the fours off. Go ahead and come back in here and tell me where you're from. I'd like to know. I am personally from Florida. I am from Manatee County, and that's where I reside. That's where I'm at right now. It is too hot for me to be outside, but I will. Born ready. Thank you. Thank you, love. Thank you. Texas, Kentucky, Missouri. We got Nebraska, Northern California, Napa, California. Nice to see you. Missouri. We got, somebody from Germany. Nice. Nice. I hope we're informative to you. Orange County, Florida. Nice to see you, Kim. You're one of my neighbors. Tennessee, New Hampshire. Nevada County, California. Did I just see that? We got somebody from Sweden, UK, Texas, California, about 2 hours from Truckee. I just saw someone. Oh, I didn't know anything like that. Now I'd be pretty. Oh, she was going. If they were using Venmo for them to buy underage alcohol, and somebody was collecting that. Wild still horses. I had no idea you were in Nevada County, California. Many of you guys know Wild Still Horses have been coming around Bullhorn Betty channel. You've been popping in and out of here for a few months now, if I'm correct. Sometimes if you've been here longer, I'm sorry. I'm a horrible Bullhorn Betty. No, I'm just joking. But she's in here quite often. We chat with her, say good morning to her. This case has kind of exploded, and it's right in your area. My word, girl! Like, what is? If you come up here, I will block your face so nobody knows who you are. But what is it like there? Like, what are people talking about? People have got to be talking about this. I'm curious. I'll throw you if you want to. I know some people are really shy and they don't like coming up here. But I will, we will put you behind, I won't show your face or anything like that. But I would really like the information, or you can send me some stuff through Gmail, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. So here, if you don't want to come up or you're a little too shy, here's what I'd like to know. I just want to kind of know what the vibe is in that area. What are people saying? Like, I like law enforcement. And I feel bad for this law enforcement, because even I'm talking like, how the hell did you miss this car? Right. But in the grand scheme of things, they realized they were hitting a wall and decided to bring somebody in with fresh eyes. And that is a kudos to that sheriff's department, whether they made mistakes or not. They realized it, they identified it, and they tried to find somebody to help them, which did. So kudos to them. That was the right decision. People make mistakes. It's expected. But I'm curious as to what what the scene is like there. Hey, do you want me to keep the camera on, or you want it off? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and bring you up now. Oops. Oh, I gotta add you. You hit the button to bring you up, but I'm not adding you. Well, hello.
Hello.
Oops, let me put you back up. There we go.
That's okay.
So now, are you Wild Still Horses?
Yes.
Okay. So
I want to make something clear really quick.
Yeah.
I am in Nevada County right now. That's where my son lives. I'm visiting them.
Okay.
I actually live in Stanislaus County, but I travel up here constantly.
Oh, very good, very good. So, but you're around there. You're feeling the vibe. I mean, this is the vibe in that county. What are people saying? What is, like, even your family? You're saying you're there with your son and he lives there. What is he saying about all? Like, what is everybody saying about all this down there?
Honestly, most people are laughing at the internet because of all the rumors.
Mm-hmm.
It's gone really far.
Yeah, we kind of went off, and that's why I'm trying to, just bring relevant stuff here. We're trying to discuss about flipping cards. I'm not I believe, I stand with Kiely, period. I believe she was real. I believe she lost her life. I believe her family and friends are devastated right now. I believe she was very talented, that this was
absolutely
just totally avoidable, and the pain that stupid decisions, it's frustrating.
Yeah, it really is. And I'll be honest with you, in the beginning, because I know the area, I know cars go off those cliffs. I know they go in the water. It's very common. I was just like you. And then they said where they found her.
Yeah.
And my sons are first responders. My middle son is a fireman for Roseville, and my other son, he's a first responder. He was a Marine. So I know it happens a lot. I was talking to a retired San Francisco investigator yesterday. He's my son's father-in-law. And he said, I asked him about the car. He said, you would be surprised at where you find people when they are trying to get their last bit of breath.
Mm-hmm.
He says, you will find out when the autopsy is complete. They will find either fibers under her nails where she's trying to dig out of the car, pull things off. You're going to see evidence of that.
Yeah.
If she was asleep or OD'd or unconscious when they put her in there or dead, there's going to be evidence that there's none of that.
Mm-hmm.
And when there is
the lack of evidence is evidence.
Right. And the fact that the window was cracked, I don't know her exact measurements. I know she was little and lanky. Without knowing the exact inches of that window, I hate to say she could have got out of there, but man, it really looks like it.
Yeah, and that's what I watched. Whose channel did he come on? I can't remember, but Doug Bishop was on a channel. I said it on here yesterday because I was asking people if they had an opportunity to watch his interview. I think it was on Zab Girl, but I can't be 100% sure. Either way, he basically said that the roll down window was definitely rolled down enough that a body can, that she could have got, that a teenager of her size could have escaped from.
Right. And it really looks that way. But with camera angles and the way that, you just don't know until they actually do those measurements.
Mm-hmm. But then you would think that she would have at least tried. That was an open window. You would have thought that she was hanging half in, half out because she got stuck when she was trying to flee for her life,
Exactly.
There's just something that just is raw to me with this, and her being all the way, and I kept watching video. Some of the stuff I watch is just stuff that people should never, ever, ever in a million years see. And, but I have to watch it because I got to understand it. And I'm trying to understand how, because I have somebody on here, his name's Packless Jones, and he comes here and he argues all the time about the pressure of the water, tossing her to the back. And it's like, I've watched videos over and over and over and over again. And not one time have I ever seen, and they talk about the force of the water, but have never seen anybody be flown to the back of the vehicle because of the water.
Right. And also, along with the autopsies, people have to realize that she was in the water for a long time. She's going to be bloated.
Yeah.
They need to do tests on the fluid in her lungs. OD patients, when they OD, you get fluid in your lungs. They need to find out if that's body fluid, if it's lake fluid. They need to find out. They do sectioned off of all of her organs. They're going to send that off. They're going to find out so many specific information. That's why the cops are quiet right now. They don't want to screw up again.
Yeah. And for many of people that don't know, what goes into an autopsy, Dr. G, she has, they have videos. You can find it on Netflix and everything else. It really does. She really dives in on how these things, and it's amazing what they can do. Again, it's kind of grotesque for people that have weak stomachs, but if you're going to be covering true crime, you better be able to handle it. I'm just saying.
Very informative.
Yeah.
And just so your subscribers know, if they go online, you can actually look up the temperature of the water, the evaporation rate, the humid, everything. It's all online, and you can just put the date in. It'll pull it all up. They keep very strict records with that out here. So
yeah, I need to do that myself, because I went by, even with my statement earlier, it was from somebody else's statement, like the car. I was going off somebody that told me that the water was cooler at that time, as opposed to reviewing it and looking at it myself. So yeah, it would definitely be good.
It was definitely not 80 degrees. That was outside.
Yeah, I definitely don't believe it was 80 degrees, because the people that give me the information are people that I work with a lot. So I do rely on their information, and I do hold it more credible than, just a run of the mill email. So I don't believe it was 80 degrees. I was told it was between 60 or, between 60 and the 70s.
Yeah, most 60s, I believe.
Yeah, I didn't verify that information personally myself, though.
I don't think those lakes have ever been 80 degrees.
Yeah.
Ever.
That's what I heard. I heard it was cooler there. Like that doesn't happen. Like that's one of the best parts about these lakes, is they don't get that hot.
Yeah, it's all snow runoff and sometimes a little bit of rain, but it's mostly all snow runoff. So it stays pretty cold, and it's up in the mountains, so it doesn't get super hot. It's been really hot the last week, but that's not the regular. This is very rare.
Yeah. So getting back to Nevada County, has anybody talked about, what they feel like, whether this was an accident or whether they think it's, something more nefarious, or they just think it's a bunch of wild kids that got themselves in trouble?
Not many people are saying much. The younger, I'm kind of hearing a little more about the younger generation talking about it, because I think they want to know, do you know who did this? Do you know who was there? Because it's that area. So they're trying to get their information. But most of the people that are our age, they're just waiting for the autopsy.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. I think so too. Well, thank you so much, Wild Still Horses. We are so happy to have you here. I know you've been following me for a little minute, but it's nice to, you know, this is what it's all about. People from these areas, if you guys have information, you know, I'm interested. I just want to understand. I want to understand what happened. I really do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I appreciate you having me on. I'm always in the chat. I just kind of keep quiet until I see something that I can say something about.
Well, I appreciate it. Please come back. I'm sure, with you being in this county right now, I'm sure, I'm sure you're going to be pretty popular if they know you're there, because people are going to pull you up just like me. Like, what's going on there? Like, we're like, just, we want to know. Like, I just feel like at this point, law enforcement should have come out. They should have been more transparent with us on the 22nd. I know that they have an investigative, they have integrity of the investigation to protect the integrity of the investigation. I get that. But when you have a third party come out and give some mind-blowing information, like the kid was in the hatch of the car, I think it is appropriate, and it is the law enforcement's duty to come out and either confirm or deny that information and calm the masses. They're not doing any of that. You know, we're sitting here and don't let people start thinking, because
I don't think they have the answers, and that's why they don't say. I don't think they have the answers yet.
I think they have the answer. They just don't know. I think it might be a whodunit, or they may have an idea, but they should have still acknowledged that, guys, you're going to be hearing some, upsetting.
It would have been nice.
Going to be coming out. We just want to let you know we are investigating this. They shouldn't have told us that this 2 days after they pulled her out that this was just an accident collision event. I'm sorry, they just shouldn't. They should have addressed the elephant in the room, because they knew that it was going to come out. They knew the public was going to hear it, and they had an opportunity to address it right then and say, hey, everybody, we know there's going to be some disturbing information coming out about this case. However, we want everybody to remain calm as we get this information. As soon as we get something out, we will let you guys know when we can let you guys know. They didn't do that. Oh, we're just going to take this as a, an accident, fatality, and, making it sound like it was an accident. This, to me, this feels, even if it was an accident, it was definitely vehicular homicide. And somebody needs to come out here from law enforcement and address these issues with the public, because it is a great public concern.
It really is. And if there are, like many people are saying, fentanyl laced drugs going on around there, those parents and those kids need to know.
Yeah.
They need to,
They just had a big bust. This is also another thing that I'm having a hard time with. Many know we did a search because we're trying to find the Nate that she was. Let me go ahead and bring Miss Daisy up here too. Hey, Miss Daisy, how you doing?
Hey, how are you? I'm good.
Good. So, who else is behind here? Amy's behind here too. Amy, I'm going to go ahead and bring you up. Let me go ahead and bring you up too, Amy. But I'm going to talk first, and then I'll start calling you guys out by name. Okay.
Thank you.
So you're welcome. So what I have a problem with here with these children is that we started looking for the snake character because Kate acknowledged that Kiely was dating and broke up with a guy by the name of Nate. In the research, now we don't know if this Nate guy is connected or the guy that dated Kiely, but it did come across that 4 days after she disappeared, a boy, 20 years old, was immediately arrested and thrown in jail for an overdose death of a 15-year-old girl. That was before she was found. Now, 4 days after she's found, they have one of the largest fent busts in Placer County, where there is over 50,000 pills that were found and confiscated in a gentleman in jail. This just happened. So this idea that, it makes me wonder, did I just happen to come across this Nate's name that has nothing to do with Kiely? As people know, I believe things happen for a reason. And there's something, I just feel like there's something there. There's this boy, 20 years old, from the small Placer County that's in jail for killing a 15-year-old girl due to this type of drug. And then we have a 50,000 pill bust in Placer County coming on the heels of finding. I'm sorry. These things are, to me, are telling me something.
You have to realize Reno is just a hop, skip, and a jump. And that is major drugs out there.
Yeah.
And it all comes out. And then you've got Sacramento just an hour down the hill. So You've got a lot of big cities close, and that's where that all comes from.
Yeah, give me a minute. And Amy, I apologize. Let me move over to Miss Daisy. So, Miss Daisy, what do you think about all of this?
Well, I wanted to come up here and say last night, I have a lady that has been into video specialty and photo specialty for 23 years, and she works in high dollar doing it. And she said that she got almost the picture that was blurred out perfect, and she'll never release it. And I don't blame her. I wouldn't either. But she said Kiely was wearing a Letterman jacket, black pants, and hiking boots in the picture. She said that her head was down at the bottom, like looking down. You couldn't see nothing but the forehead and nose.
Yeah, I could see her eyes were closed. I could see her. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what she said. And she said that she was perfect. She was not swollen or nothing. Okay. As we know, and as me being a registered nurse, I know the body decomposes pretty fast. In my opinion, I don't believe that she was in that water for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I
Well, according to, I actually spoke to some doctors, and I expressed that. Maybe you weren't on here. I spoke to some doctors about this, and they said that believe it or not, that the cooler water actually preserves the body better than being on dry land. Now, what was the temperature of the water is what I think we're bouncing around with. But I was also told that yes, the body does. Once you die, you do have the gas buildup. But that gas buildup doesn't stay with you for forever. I mean, it does eventually.
Right. But you would think that her color of skin would be like green or dark. I mean, we know when a person dies, they turn blue first, and then they go completely white. And she said that she was white. Other than her hand, she said it was kind of messed up. She was not in fetal position, she said, and she was turned towards the
She looked like she was
steering wheel.
lengthways in the back of that, and that's the problem. Or widthways. I should keep lengthways is from the front to the back. Width is from side to side. She was from side to side pattern in that vehicle.
Yeah, yeah. And so, and I just got some messages sent from one of my mods that there was a girl in the Facebook chat that named 3 people involved. She came in there and she said one was SS, the other one was a girl named Rachel and her boyfriend. Plus, the PI posted that he didn't know why Sammy was saying that Kiely was single, and he said that that there was a friction that night, and there was another guy there over a guy, pretty much, but it was not Jagger.
Yeah, I think it was Nate.
Yeah,
because I heard that Nate hated Sammy.
Yeah, there's definitely some shady stuff going on, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But the water, it is close. One of my mods actually was boots on the ground there, and she says it's like 5,000 feet elevation, so it is colder there. So that would explain her, but I still don't understand. After 2 weeks, she would have been some kind of color, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But,
well, I can only go off my own experiences, and when my cousin passed away, she was not blue. She was gray and white. She was chalky.
Yeah.
So that's the only experience I have. But there's people out there. I don't have a medical degree. My forte is the law.
Yeah.
Medical school wasn't in Bullhorn Betty's path.
Well, I think we all do, and I think that makes a good combination. But I don't. She said that Kiely was supposed to went hiking the next day. So had she changed in her clothes?
I don't know. It sounds like there were some wardrobe changes. Hold on, just Miss Daisy. Let me go ahead and get Miss Amy.
Okay.
Thoughts on this, and then we'll go back to Miss Daisy.
Okay. Hi.
Hey.
I'm a nurse. The thing I'm thinking about with the water is the salinity. It takes like about 2 weeks to decompose in the water. in fresh water. That's what I looked up. But with fresh water, the cells would be more bloated because of osmosis. Like if you have to compare salt water versus the fresh water, because water always goes from an area of lesser concentration to greater concentration. So I would think she'd be very bloated because it's a hypotonic, meaning that we'll have a lot of salt and the cells have more salt. So this water will be more drawn into the intercellular inside the cell, as opposed to if she was in salt water, which they say is a slower decomposition period. And also if she was in salt water, her cells would have been shriveled up and she might have been less bloated because the water would. No, it's not. If you go back to science class, study osmosis, put into salt water, you would have the salt water, the cell in the intracellular water would exit the cell and go into the extracellular water outside the cell, because water goes to where there is a greater concentration of salinity or salt. So she would be much more bloated in fresh water as opposed to salt water. And that's just some review for your science
That's
class.
interesting, Amy, because I would
but it does take 2 weeks.
Yeah.
No, study your osmosis if you forgot it in school from science class or biology. Because if someone is water intoxicated, for instance, if someone's on an extreme diet and they're overtaking water and they become hyponatremic, meaning low salt in their blood and their bloodstream, their cells are going to take on a lot
of water. Gotcha. And then
water becomes swelled up. Like you can get hydrocephalus. That's just something that would be interesting to look up. So I don't know. That's all I have to say.
You're breaking up too, Amy. We're getting like every other word now.
Tragic that the behavior to not tell their kids to speak out, and I think it's absolutely a shame and despicable.
It's disgusting.
So that's all I have to say. I don't know.
All right, Amy, thank you. I appreciate it.
It's terrible. I'm a parent. I have a 14-year-old, and she's afraid of her own shadow. Take care. Bye.
Oh, thank God. You know, I almost rather have kids that are afraid of their own shadow. So let me get back to you, Dana. That was basically what you were kind of saying too. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And I also wanted to let you guys know the water, when you're in that lake, even in Tahoe, you're treading water, your feet are so much colder than your upper body. There is a significant difference the deeper you go, and it's just inches. It's not feet. I mean, it gets really cold. You want to hike your feet up so you get the warmer water. It's that cold.
Gotcha. That's good information to know as well. Well, I appreciate all the help and everything for you, Dana. Please come back again, and
just let me know.
Time that we're going to need to borrow you as we
no
dive.
Problem. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks so much. Wild Still Horses. Thank you so much for your thoughts. So, Miss Daisy, so when this whole case first came out for me, I chalked it up accident, teenage stuff. We've all dealt with it. We've all heard about it. We all read about it. Party at this thing, lake right there. And I think there was not at least for me, there was the majority of the people believe she was in some form of body of water. I think that was pretty prevalent going into this, but it was how, where she was and how she got there. I personally thought she did this to herself. I don't believe that anymore. What was your initial thoughts?
Well, I seen where someone had seen her car allegedly near Arizona, but I didn't know if that worked out or not. Why? But I thought maybe she was hidden somewhere, maybe in the water. It could have been an accident, just like you. But things has changed a lot since then.
Oh, absolutely. And Plunder stated on her channel that she believes that the law enforcement out there is going to chalk this up as a vehicular accident.
I hope not, because there's just so much evidence. I mean, if you think about it, the car was upside down, so she would have been floating to the floorboard of the car.
Yeah.
She would have had to swim underneath the seats, seats, to get back there. And the way she was turned, because she was tight in there. That girl said she was in that hatch, but she was very tight in there. I just don't see her floating to turn like that. And
No,
I think AWP.
I got to be honest with you, Daisy. I spent hours here trying to um, figure out how she could float back there. I have to tell you, I'm not a rocket science. I am using, I'm using visual aid. I'm using this, I'm using that, but I have really tried for hours. I mean, we're not talking about 30 minutes looking at this. I have tried hours of trying to identify how this car turned, how it flipped, how it landed where it did, how she could have gotten back there, without any kind of foul means involved. Like she organically got back there. How did that happen? And I can't, for the life of me, after hours upon hours, and I know many people in the audience have done the same thing. We can't, for the life of us, figure out how this girl got back there naturally.
Right. I just don't think that it could be possible. I mean, to get back in that little tight area, I just don't see it. And then, like, there's they brought it to my attention. There was like a belt hanging out the hatch back of it,
That's what I'm doing.
and how, if that would have been, then water would have got into the hatch just as fast as it would have anywhere else because of that belt.
Yep.
It would have broke the seal. So there couldn't have
That's
been an air pump.
Point. That, you know what, Daisy? I didn't mean to. I didn't think of it like that. Could that have been intentional? I mean, we have one window on one side of the car busted out, one window on the other side of the car open, and something messing with the seal in the back hatch of the car.
Yeah, that would have broke the seal, so the water would have came in there as well fast. I don't think it was Kiely that the tow truck driver seen. I think it was a guy and another girl, and I think
probably this Rachel and her boyfriend.
Yeah, and I think that Kiely might have been in the hatch, and they was trying to distract him from going back there and seeing her. That's just what I think. I don't believe it was Kiely he's seen. It could have been, but Jared confirmed that the boy was positively identified, but he couldn't confirm the girl. So
yeah, they never told us who he was positively identified as. Now, who positively identified him? Was it them or was it law enforcement? Because I'm curious about that too.
I am too. I don't know.
Because here's what I'm kind of pondering, with that whole tow truck driver thing. I just, and I know people are talking about the condition of her body, and I know that was very important with her being down there for 2 weeks. And I'm kind of, I am getting conflicting messages, from medical professionals, different levels of medical professionals related to this specific topic. And I don't know, I kind of hear the tone that people believe she was dumped much later. I think that's that's what people are starting to develop as explanation as to why law enforcement was unable to find her vehicle. But I'm just not there yet because I feel like everything happened right in that one little area.
Right.
Well, they were already in Boca Reservoir. Even if they talked to him, like, why didn't they just not screw with calling the tow truck driver and just went ahead and shoved the car into the water?
Right. That's true. I just think it would have been hard to get the car in the water after she went missing because so many people were there.
I mean, they had this. People don't realize it was literally the day after. They had 100 people out there searching for her.
Right. So there was people staying all night there. Well, that would have been a very easy thing to pick up, but could have someone put her in that car after? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe it is the cold water that kept her body so preserved because it is very cold.
Yeah.
I just feel like she should have been in worse condition after 2 weeks, but I'm not like a corner or anything like that.
Right. That's because I heard this is what I heard. This is just what I heard. I heard that the water itself will, if it's cold enough, it will actually preserve the body. But the problem is even though it preserves the body underwater, when it comes above water and that oxygen hits that, the body starts deteriorating at an accelerated, rapid speed.
Oh yeah, I bet. I would say it would. Absolutely. Maybe
So
that's why.
they should always have autopsies done within the first 24 hours. But I think this one they had to do immediately. I know they did it the next morning, but I bet you that she was on that slab very early in the morning. And she was obviously refrigerated, whatever, but they had to do that immediately because of the water. The water, even though it preserves you underwater, when you come out of that water and that oxygen hits your body,
Mm-hmm.
things start and especially drying out. I mean, think about that process.
Oh yeah. Oh
It's got
yeah.
to start. I mean, you're going to start deteriorating very quickly.
Oh yeah. Most definitely.
Mhm.
Most definitely. I'm definitely gonna be looking into this. Messages I got. Well, it was on a Facebook post that someone posted about Sammy, this Rachel and her boyfriend. I do think there were multiple involved. I really do.
Yeah.
Um.
I'm so thankful that you brought a new name and here's why. As I was reviewing the Adventures with Purpose, like I've already watched it several times. I'm going to watch it every time I watch it, I pull something else out. What I pulled out yesterday from that video was, when he said, well, we know she was in a fight and they blanked out his name and put a beat there. Well, above that, I could see the ridge, right under his nose. I could see how he was talking and I could see his chin. It didn't appear that he said Sammy.
So he said somebody else.
So he said somebody else, and I said that several times to a few people. I think I talked to 2 other creators yesterday, late yesterday evening, about this, and I told them the same thing. I see that black, but it doesn't sound like he's saying Sammy. Like we're all expecting him to say she got in a fight with Sammy, and even though he blacked it out, the top doesn't look like an S of Sam or anything like that. The movement that he would have by saying Sammy.
Wow. That definitely would be something for sure.
So I'm wondering if it's Rachel.
It could be. It could be. The person said that they let her car go into the water. That's what the thing says. I'll have it on my live after a while.
Yeah, and by the way, if you guys don't know, this is Miss Daisy. She's with you. I always mess up your name.
Crime Critters Crazy on the Farmer.
There you go.
I
just call her Miss Daisy. It's a lot easier for me. And a lot of people call her the farm lady.
The farm lady, yeah. But
so you're going to be going live. So if anybody has her link, please put it down in here. I love your stuff. And we don't always agree on things. We don't always agree on our analysis of things like that. But I do love your content. I love your content. I love your chat. I have fun whenever I go over and visit. And you really try hard.
Well, thank you, Betty. I appreciate that. I do. I appreciate that. It'll probably be a while before I go live. But I'm going to post it one way or the other. But it was on a face group chat and the girl put that on there and I was like, what? So, our mods send us stuff, our people send us stuff. And I was like, what? But I do definitely, Betty, believe that there was multiple involved because I think they chucked out of there when they seen something bad happen or someone was not doing well. That's why all the cars left at one time.
And it looks like we got historic water temperatures for that day, August 1st to August 10th. And it looks like the water temperatures during the day until about, it looks like until about 3 in the afternoon. It looks like 3 in the afternoon. It takes a deep dive for some reason in the cold, if I'm reading this right. But it looks like the water temperatures are below 70.
Yeah, so that'll be almost like putting her in the fridge.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Now I gotta have clarification on these things that I'm reading because I don't know what I'm reading. But I'll have to discuss that. But somebody just sent me that. But it does appear that the water was much colder than many people believe it is.
Oh yeah, I think so too. I just feel like she should have been in worse. But who knows? I could be wrong about that, but I just feel like she should have had some kind of discoloration or something, but
it could have also been, the camera, the water under, because she wasn't filmed above water. She was actually filmed underwater. So that may have had something because the green water would almost have been like a filter, so to speak.
Yeah. Oh
You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? Like when I have my Canon Rebel, I have different lenses that can change the color for my HDR and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And I'm wondering if that's just if the water itself was almost like one of my lens filters because it is a color.
Mhm. It could have been. It could have been.
I mean,
Oh.
I don't know. I'm just throwing something out there that might make sense. I got to be honest with you. I don't know if it makes sense or not. I'm just saying.
That's okay. I do want to point out
In my head, I spit it out my mouth.
I do want to point out that the PI also, he deleted a lot of his posts, but we got them, and he said that there was it 75 people in the teen to teen meetup that Sammy had,
Yes.
and they must have had some kind of private investigator there because he said that she made promises and kept information that she was supposed to have turned in, and that she's going to have to answer for some of that.
Yeah, and you know what? I said from the very beginning, and there's only a few things that I got right about the beginning of the story based on the information we had. And one of those things is I really believe that she could be criminally and civilly held accountable because she was the organizer and the setup of that party. She allowed it to get out of control. She had underage drinking there. She had drugs there, and somebody died at her party on her watch. And I knew that there was going to be, and I knew her parents, or at least one of her parents, was an attorney based upon a statement she just recently made. It sounds like both of her parents are attorneys, and she has now got a criminal defense attorney.
Right. I think so too. And also they said she was allegedly selling alcohol to
minors.
Like and taking money for fights.
Yeah, on her Venmo app.
Yeah, on her Venmo. Yeah. I mean, she's an adult. And where was she getting this alcohol? Because she was only 18.
And not only that, but selling alcohol. Now you're dealing with the FTA.
Mm-hmm.
They don't play.
Yes. So in so many ways, she was responsible. In my opinion, she was very responsible. But what I don't understand is she was with Kiely all evening, yet she could not give an idea of what she was really wearing. The confusion between what she was wearing and what she was found in is so different. It just doesn't make sense.
And I also believe this is another thing that I stated is that when this first came out and, we were just new to this case, there was a statement from Marika Beck, which is the mom's best friend, Kiely's mom's best friend, according to this article. Now, this is from the Sun. I don't put a lot of weight in the Sun's articles because I just don't. But either way, for this particular situation, she stated that she heard from some of the people that went to the party that there was a group of men, strange, weird dudes that showed up at 12 o'clock that caused the mass exit. I don't believe that. I believe it was whatever altercation that wound that car up into that water is what caused that mass exit. So I have been curious and reached out to that Marika Beck to ask her if, who told the family that story about those men, because I didn't say this when I asked it. I just made that one quick question. I went in through I'm sorry for your loss, blah, 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 because I am sympathetic. If this is her mom's best friend, this was like her kid too. We all know how parental best friends are. They're like a parent. And so she's got to be struggling with this too. So I gave her the condolences and everything like that. But I also asked her, I said, if you would, she hasn't responded. If you would, just let me know who told the family about these strange dudes that showed up at the party. And I have a funny feeling it's Sammy. And if that's the case, I have a funny feeling that these weird dudes didn't show up at the party because everybody already showed up at the party when it got out of control at 10 o'clock, not 12. And then she talked about when you look at that American Dream Chaser, All-American Dream Chaser interview and you see her hiccuping, first of all, the first thing I noticed about her is she identifies herself as a close friend to Kiely, but when he asks her to tell her about Kiely, she couldn't tell him but anything like general information that we could all garner from her. And she said crap like this boilerplate. She was the light in everybody's life. It's like those types of things just didn't seem odd. You would think a friend that knew her said, you know, she was smart. She went to school. I mean, she was amazing at school. She was popular in school. She graduated 2 years early. She was about to go to medical school. She was a loving, caring person. I had the opportunity to know her and meet her. You would think something like that would have came out. Not, oh, she was the light in a lot of people's lives. And, you know, just boilerplate, vague, you know, conversation about somebody you perceive as a close friend. That was the first thing I found odd. The second thing I found odd is that she was talking about, you know, what was happening around this time. And she starts telling about what was going on in the car. And then she stops herself and says, oh, no, we were talking about how she texted her mom and we had a couple friends in the back seat. So I'm thinking that she was not in that front seat. I'm thinking that it was Sammy. I'm starting to agree with Dolly on this, that it was Sammy or somebody else that texted Kiely's mom to tell her she was running late because she was already incapacitated or something had already happened to her. And then everything kind of transpired. And I think that would make sense because now we hear about a Rachel and a boyfriend. By the way, this is the first time I heard about them, Daisy. So those are new names. Thank you for that. So now we have Sammy and friends. Now it's making me wonder, is these friends in this car with Kiely, this Rachel and her boyfriend? And if it is, now you got 3 people and 1 person dead, 3 people in that car, which aligns with the windows being down, multiple people being in that car when that car went into the water.
I agree 100%. I absolutely agree. I think that's exactly what happened. Let me see if I can look up the last name of that girl so I don't want to get kicked off.
Yeah. So I'm just, but that's, yeah, she was an amazing musician too. She's this girl was just talented. She's everything that parents want their children to be. I'm sorry. I mean, not the party part of it, but you know, she was responsible. She worked hard. She graduated school 2 years early. She was going to medical school. Like I don't know a 16-year-old around that knows their path. This girl knew her path and was walking it. So while Miss Daisy looks that up, I'm going to go through some of these questions you got. Kevin Harris, yes, sir. My daughter is graduating in the top of her class, but doesn't have common sense to pour piss out of a boot. Instructions on the bottom of the heel.
Hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
It's Vanessa Rachel Sy, S-I-G-H, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And Vanessa's boyfriend. So it's not Rachel, it's Vanessa Rachel Sy and her boyfriend and Sammy.
Yeah.
All 3 of them.
Well, something happened. Something happened. And I keep wondering if she was passed out. They put her in the back of the car and it was time for I just keep going through all these possibilities and they're endless. They're endless. Like I could literally go all day. I can understand how people can go in a rabbit hole in this case.
Oh, very easily, very easily. I'm sorry if you hear the background. They're working on my house here, so I'm trying
That's okay. I'm going to go ahead. We're already over 2 hours, and I'm going to be doing another live later this afternoon around 3. So I'm going to go ahead and pipe it down. And everybody, when are you going to be going live to discuss this case?
I'm not for sure. Probably a little bit later on. I'm not sure. But I thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, well, it's nice to chat with you, Miss Daisy. It's always fun.
Yes. And I just wanted to let you guys know that she was not wearing any of that. So, yeah. But thank you for having me up. And
this story is stranger than fiction.
It sure is. It sure is. And maybe we'll find out something soon.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
All right, Miss Daisy, you have an amazing Tuesday. And
you too.
I will not be, just to let everybody know, I will not be live tomorrow. Tomorrow is a budget meeting for a county. So I will be in a very boring meeting for 8 to 10 hours tomorrow.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
No news from Bullhorn Betty tomorrow. I might have to wake up at like 4 a.m.
You're doing awesome, Betty. I love your channel.
Oh, thank you, Miss Daisy. That's a lot coming from you. I appreciate it. You take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So Miss Daisy. So if you guys have not subbed up to her, please go over there and sub up to her. Great lady. I love her conversation. I love the fun that they have in their chat room. And what a blessing for her to come over here and give us some of her time, her valuable time to give her perspective. Many of you had an opportunity to give your perspective, and this is not going away anytime soon, guys. We are going to be covering this case. Many of the creators out there that are really there's just something wrong. And I think the curiosity of many of us wants to find out what it is. And that's what's bringing so many people to our channels. And God bless you guys for coming here and trying to get educated and trying to figure out what happened to poor Kiely Rodni. As we dive into this, we're not getting any help from anybody getting this information out. So this is like really one of the first opportunities I've had to collaborate with a lot of different creators as we share information amongst us behind the scenes. So everybody on YouTube gets a good understanding of what happened. And so kudos to all those creators that are working hard to keep their audience, informed. Do we have every single channel on here is going to be speculative in nature. Once we have facts, we speculate on the facts that we find. So I personally prefer everybody leaving their comments, their dogging, what they feel over here on this chat. You want to vent, do it on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Do it on one of these other creators' channel. But what I don't want to happen is you taking some of the theories, some of the speculation, some of the opinions brought into our chat and taking them to attack a person that you perceive as a person of interest or a person that is a suspect. At the end of the day, nobody has been called. It's not our duty to go attack these people without rightful information. And so far, with all the sleuthing done, nobody's been able to come up with enough facts to lean one way or another as to who is responsible. There were 400 children out there. We could be attacking a whole group of wrong children. And I'm going to call them children, even though they're 18, they're kids to me because they got no brain cells. 25, maybe I'll quit calling them kids. But 20 and under, they're children to me. They're children that have rights of, they're adults in the eyes of the law, but until they're actually prove that they're adults in the eyes of the law, they're kids to me. And these actions that happened out here show me children. Children with no common freaking sense. And now one girl is dead because of it. Absolutely. There is no other, outside of Gabby Petito. Gabby Petito is what propelled me into a national spotlight where people knew who I was. Okay. It was Gabby Petito. But Summer Wells is the one here because I was never a YouTuber. I was a TikToker. And Summer Wells is the one here. This platform has been built on the Summer Wells Army to help take these children, missing people, and murdered victims into the spotlight. And this is the work that Gabby Petito has done. This is the work that Summer Wells has done. And now this is the work that Kiely Rodni has done. This is gut-wrenching work, gut-wrenching. And I always try to find the positive. I never want these victims to lose their life in vain. Summer Wells saved her brother. Gabby Petito brought to the national spotlight the conversation of domestic battery yet again. It comes and goes, right? Domestic battery, it's a big deal when somebody loses their life in a manner like Gabby Petito. But then as time goes by, it dies down and people don't talk about the disgusting and lethal domestic battery issues going on in this country. And then you got, Summer Wells that, brought us to these children and letting us recognize how many children are truly missing across this country and not being found. And also the train wreck of the Child Protective Services and the alphabet soup across this country. Now we have Kiely Rodni being the face. We don't even know what she's the face of because she's not the face of why not to drink and drive. She's not that face yet because she was in the freaking hatch of her car. But what I can tell you is what she's done for millions is show people how to escape a sinking car. I guarantee because of this case, she's already saved more lives than we know. So I always, always, always want, as despicable as people can be to one another and as hard as these cases are, I always want it to end positive. It's very hard to do, but so far, out of 3 horrible cases, I was able to bring one positive thing that each of those cases brought forward. And I hope you guys do. We don't want these people, these victims, to ever die in vain. we got to make sure that their name matters and their legacy is printed. And that's what I try to do. So with that, guys, I want to tell you all, thank you for taking your time to be with me for 2.5 hours today as we go through this case. There's so much to it. I have to do multiple shows to keep it all together so I can present it to you. So we'll be back here around 3 o'clock to go over different topics of this case. If you are interested, please don't forget to come back around 3 o'clock. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Bullhorn Betty channel. And we'll just keep going through this. And I want to get your perspective. We need to start talking about, and maybe that's what we'll do at 3 o'clock. We'll get on here and talk and throw everything, all the possibilities out on the table. And then let's start working to either prove them or disprove them as we make this journey to tell Kiely Rodni's story. Guys, I love you. God bless you. And don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. It could be a matter of life and death. Take care.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.